Okay.
Armageddon is here. The biggest players in the world are at war. They're fighting it out. And I'm here to tell you who won and what's next. Now, I'm going to be honest.
This video is not reflective of the new developments. Okay.
I called this yesterday. I warned you guys that FTX, second largest exchange, might be insolvent, and people called me crazy. They said, no way the guy who described all of DeFi as a Ponzi scheme could be bad.
All I'm saying is that if the Alameda CEO could sleep her way to the top, so can you. Okay? That lady that we just looked at, if she can fuck her way to the top, what is stopping you, chatter, from fucking your way to the top? Huh? What? This story, a lot of people will look at this and go, oh, gross, libertarians that are like fucking each other and like fucking everybody else and fucking themselves now. Like, well, the inspirational side of the story, the silver lining, is looking at a person and saying, you know what? I can do it too. If she can do it, so can I. That's right.
Sam Bankman-Fried, he's just too smart. FTX, after all, is endorsed by Tom Brady. What could go wrong with another celebrity endorsement? People like Larry David backed FTX.
Never forgive, never forget.
Surely your funds are safe. Well,
women can be only at the top if they fuck their way up. Ha ha ha. First of all, that is literally not what I'm saying. And also, secondly, this is a more like men and women argument that I was making. And lastly, what, you think she had the bona fides to be the fucking CEO of a company? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Can we do some jokes, dude? Can we have like a couple jokes there?
Turns out they were actually in danger all along, and things are looking very bad. So I'm going to explain to you this entire mess very quick, but bear in mind this is a very dynamic situation. Things are changing by the hour. But let's get into it. Once there existed two rival crypto exchanges, Binance and FTX, the number one and number two crypto exchanges. And their CEOs, CZ and SBF, or Sam Bankman-Fried, hate each other. That's an important part of this story. But things were calm at first, for the most part. They played nice for years, until recently, SBF decided to take a pot shot at his competitors' attempts to work with regulators and said, he is allowed to go to DC, right? Implying that CZ was banned. Now, he didn't know it at the time, but SBF set off World War III in crypto with this tweet, and he might have signed his own funeral. Because a few days later, a report came out from CoinDesk leaking FTX's financial balance sheet. And what it showed is that they had a lot of money, but it was sort of locked up in all these token projects they were a part of, most notably in FTT token, Solana, and other projects that they were behind. And they couldn't sell the projects anytime they wanted to. In other words, even though they had billions of dollars worth of assets, they weren't very liquid, and it was arguable that some of the coins weren't that valuable. So they couldn't get access to these funds immediately. Meanwhile, they had huge liabilities of $8 billion, $7.4 billion of which were loans. Now, Dirty Bubble Media, who is the person who called out the collapse of Celsius, which we've talked about extensively, picked this up in a scathing report. In it, he suggested that FTX and Alameda Research might be insolvent because all their money was locked up in these tokens that might be worthless. And if everyone tried to withdraw their money all at once, the company could likely not pay off their liabilities. Now, CZ saw this and decided to take an opportunity to strike against his biggest rival. He announced that day that because of recent revelations, which because of that report, quote, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. Now, this was massive given that FTX's number one holding was FTT. Their competitor Binance is saying that they're going to dump up to $2.1 billion worth of it on the open market, causing that price to plummet. Now, all of a sudden, you don't even have illiquid funds. You just have none of those funds. So even though CZ said that this was not a move against a competitor, it kind of looked like it was, right? Of course, he's going to say that. In reality, he knew what he was doing. Now, immediately, this stoked all sorts of fears about the solvency of FTX. And the fear spread like wildfire. Is FTX the...
There is no echo. There is no way you're hearing an echo. I'm monitoring the audio. His echo is actually horrible. You need some sound damping badly, lol. Like, there's no... What is happening right now? Like, it's probably in the original video. You guys are... It's not happening on my end. It's not one guy. There's like a bunch of people that are fucking...
The next Luna. Is FTX the next Celsius? And people started to withdraw funds like crazy, which honestly was the logical move to make. The problem with crypto exchanges right now is that because there's no monetary insurance on your money, even if the probability of an exchange going bust is less than 1%, you still have to take all your money out, because if they do go bust, you lose everything. If it doesn't go bust, you only lose a fraction of a percent on trading fees for being cautious. And so there's really nothing to risk by taking your money out, and there's everything to risk by keeping it in. So basically that means bank runs are extremely common these days, and a lot of these exchanges, they're really not ready for it. In fact, Sam Bankman-Fried himself said that a lot of crypto exchanges are secretly insolvent, which was a bit of weird foreshadowing. But at first, it looked like FTX wouldn't go insolvent. A lot of people said this was very unlikely, since in the past, they've looked very strong. And that's what they basically said. They said, look, it's no big deal. This is all FUD, nothing to worry about. Alameda Research, who is closely tied to FTX, actually responded about these leaks in their financial balances. And they said, quote, they have $10 billion worth of...
Shut the fuck up. It is not coming from my fucking microphone. What the fuck is wrong with you, weird... Dude, if you have studio speakers... If you have studio headphones on and you're thinking like, oh, the echo is probably coming from your microphone, shut the fuck up! You hear me? Ah! Shut up! How about that? Was that better? For your fucking audio pervertry? That's what you fucking get for your audio pervertry. I hope it fucking blew out your goddamn eardrum, okay? Fuck. Now you won't be able to hear an echo because you won't be able to hear anything, okay? There is another guy I despise more than people wearing $5,000 headsets on to just be like, oh my God, my fucking personal experience is like, is ruined, okay? Is ruined for a brief moment. I'm going to fucking make it everybody else's issue. Shut the fuck up. You're annoying as fuck. The echo is coming from the fucking YouTube video. Okay? Shut up. Holy fuck.
Of assets that aren't reflected there. And that also, they have returned most of their loans by now. And most shocking of all was that they offered CZ to buy all of his FTT off market for $22 each, near the current price. Now, the reason for this is obviously to show that, okay, we're not scared. We've got the money to back this up. And if you really aren't trying to sink us as a competitor, you'll be happy to do this private deal, get a better price, and not impact our price. It would save both parties a lot of headache. But unsurprisingly, because these guys hate each other, CZ wasn't having it. He said he was going to stay in the free market, signaling that he fully intended to squash the price of FTT. And he did. FTT dropped over the next 24 hours 30%. And not only that, reports started showing that FTX withdrawals were increasing. The bank run really was happening like CZ wanted. And this is where we have to go back to Alameda's CEO, what they said about having $10 billion worth of assets. Because there's some really key caveats about those claims. What are those $10 billion worth of assets? Are they cash? Because if they are, they're probably fine. But if there's something like more FTT.
Okay, I thought he was going to talk about like not the boring nerd stuff behind, but instead like the weird, juicy gossip and the drama. I want to know about like the fucking sex and the orgies and, you know, the CEO of Alameda, you know.
T token or more of Sam's other projects that he can't sell. Well, that's going to be a significant problem for them when everybody's running and asking for their crypto back and they just don't have it. So questions were flying about what exactly FTX was doing with your money when you deposited it. Were they just giving it to Alameda Research, which is sort of acting like a hedge fund and trading with your crypto, trying to make a big return? Or were they keeping your funds safe and just practicing proper risk management? Well, this is where everyone just basically waited with bated breath to see what was going to happen next. Uh-oh, this looks pretty bad. They froze withdrawals. And at the same time, the team basically went totally silent. And people commented on how bad this looks on them. Why aren't they speaking? And people started to circle back to old clips of Sam Bankman-Fried describing DeFi and crypto as basically a Ponzi scheme positively. And they
basically, FTX lent a lot of customer funds to hedge fund that Sam found Alameda, and so they were not liquid. Is it true or is it not true that out of the $56 million that is it or is it not true that the fucking main guy, Sam or whatever his fucking name is, that he used some of the company funds to literally fund the Democratic Party to the tune of $56 million this midterm election? Because I saw his name on the top donors list. And I know he spent like around 56 million. And and from what I understand, Bankman, okay, was potentially using money from the company account to fund Democratic campaigns, which is awesome. He was lobbying for a friendly crypto regulation from the party that he was talking about regulation. Yeah.
I wondered, how did any of us trust this guy?
I think of myself as like a fairly cynical person, and that was so much more cynical than how I would have described farming. Like, you're just like, well, I'm in the Ponzi business, and it's pretty good.
At no point did any of this require any sort of like economic case. It's just like other people put money in the box, and so I'm going to too, and then it's more valuable, so I'm going to put more money in. And at no point in the cycle did it seem to like describe any sort of like economic purpose.
So yeah, things are looking.
Yeah, he was
really
the
grim.
sixth top
But
donor
if
for the
you
Democratic
have your
Party
money
and sixth
locked
top
up on
donor
FTX,
overall.
You're clinched up right now. Take a deep breath, because things look like they might be fine, although it's coming from a very unlikely source. CZ announced only hours after FTX paused withdrawals that they were going to buy them. Binance was going to buy FTX, the number one crypto exchange, buying the number two out. Quote, this afternoon, FTX asked for our help. There is a significant liquidity crunch to protect users. We signed a non-binding LOI intending to fully acquire FTX.com and help cover the liquidity crunch. Now, I'm at a loss for words. This is insane. If you're not sure what's just happened, CZ basically set his competitor on fire by stoking rumors of insolvency and then showed up with water buckets later, basically acting like the hero, saving the day. He just bought FTX out for likely pennies on the dollar in a move that's honestly going to go
they
down
didn't, right?
as a bit
They actually
of
have
business
not.
genius and also cutthroat strategy.
And FTX has gone under
was
now.
A shark move. Now, in the next few months, you're going to see SBF and CZ try to spin this whole thing as if there's no conflict between them and there was never any problems. That was just a rumor, but don't believe it. This beef was very real. Only days ago, CZ was saying that we won't pretend to make love after divorce and that, quote, we won't support.
Company's latest round of financing raises valuation like 70 billion, so 50 million in lobbying isn't out a step. I mean, I know, I'm just thinking about aspects of it that touch, my line of work.
Support people who lobby against other industry players behind their backs. So very much, these guys did not like each other, and one of them just won the war. So the fact SBF let himself get bought out by probably the man he hates most in crypto just shows you how badly they must have been short on cash or the crypto that was being withdrawn. I mean, I promise you they exhausted every other option. In fact, reports are...
I have a savings account with a company called BlockFi with savings in it, and they apparently got a loan from this FTX company, and now they're preventing withdrawals. Wait, what? Please pray for me. Oh, no. Oh, no. Toronto Teachers Pension Fund also had a huge stake in it. Stop. These motherfuckers made crypto moves. Dude, you should unironically be shot, okay, for treason. Like, you should be hanged in the fucking public square if you take people's fucking pensions and put it into cryptocurrency. The fact that, like, pensions are on the stock market in general is already psychotic to me. like jail for you across the board, but like you should literally be executed by the state. And I mean that in the legal way. I don't mean like, oh, they should be fucking, I'm not like inciting violence. I'm just saying like in a just world, that would be cause for treason and also whatever the punishment for treason is, which is like the legal execution by the state. That is crazy. Ontario teachers' pension has money in it from everything. From Toronto Maple Leafs to Ubisoft, they're almost in everything. Ay, 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 ay. Like, Donald Trump's talking about fucking... Donald Trump is talking about executing drug dealers, bro. What about these motherfuckers? You know what I mean?
They're already coming out that FTX was courting basically everyone in Silicon Valley, seeking more than $1 billion, but that by mid-Tuesday, the hole in their balance sheet looked to be significantly deeper. And in the end, they had to sell out to their biggest enemy. Now, what does all of this mean? Because for one, this represents a huge centralization in the crypto space. You know, everyone wants to be decentralized. Well, the number one buying out the number two is sort of a big problem if that's your goal. There also remain huge questions like how they could have been out billions of dollars in the first place and how exactly they were safeguarding customer funds if suddenly they find themselves at a multi-billion-dollar hole in their balance sheet after people actually look to get their money out. It seems to be yet another lesson. Credit union doing crypto is for sure a sign the bubble of the end stage of capitalism is about to burst. Yeah, it's that's crazy. I mean, even if people are going in like 1%, 2%, that's still fucking bananas, okay? I don't think capitalism, I mean, the government will always step in. The welfare state will always step in to prolong and continue the capitalist organization of the economy no matter what happens. But it's not the bubble of capitalism. It's a dot-com bubble for the crypto industry. This is the apocalypse for the crypto markets. I mean, it just sucks because on the one hand, like I've been saying this since day one, that this is just, you know, if you're playing around with speculative assets that literally do not tie back to anything, you're just basically gambling fake money, putting real money into a fake money system, and you're just gambling. You're just gambling over and over again. Some people are getting big returns. And then very quickly, we find out over and over again that there's always a bag holder. There's always a bag holder. You're just lighting your money on fire. I've been saying this over and over again. There is nothing. It is incredibly fucking volatile, okay? And there's nothing that like anchors it. There's nothing that anchors it. There's no fundamentals to look at. It's just pure confidence, okay? The issue, on the other hand, is that even if you are avoiding crypto, right, and your parents are avoiding crypto, their 401ks might be tied to it in some way. Their pensions might be tied to it in some way. It is the future, though. Man, it's not the future in the way that you think it is, okay? You think it's a future utopia. It's a future dystopia, and it's not in the future. It's here, okay? It's an indication of the end times. And it's not in the future. It's now, right now. Fundamentals, bro. What's the take? It is a Ponzi scheme, but the U.S. is a Ponzi scheme. So what's the difference? I love when fucking dumb libertarians talk about this, okay? Let's take a look at what the difference is. Hold on one second. The difference. I wonder what the difference is between the United States dollar, okay, and how the dollar works and how the stock market works, which is still, if you ask me, very fucking fraudulent, versus how the Bitcoin shit works.
The difference is there's a fucking government anchoring it. That's my point. Okay? There's a government anchoring it. You might not like it. I certainly don't. But there's a nuclear arsenal behind it. Okay? There's taxes. There's factories. Okay? There's billions of fucking dollars going back and forth. There's petroleum coming from the ground. There's people printing money. You can't compare that. At the end of the day, I don't like that either. It's not backed by fucking gold, okay? I get it. But ultimately, there's confidence within American hegemonic power, okay? We're leftists. We understand that. It's trillions of dollars in expenditure that created 230 plus military bases that we know of all around the fucking world, okay? It's bananas. Both true Ponzi's and actuality? Sure. I mean, yes. But again, if you ask me what the difference is between Bitcoin and the dollar, you know, there is something that is instilling confidence, okay? Because ultimately, a market needs to exist, a market needs to work, right? In the eyes of, in the way that the way that we operate currently, okay? It is what it is. We still have the fucking market. And while there are a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of instances where it shows that the stock market is also just fucking bullshit as well, the comparison between a financial tool that you use that is still backed by a financial tool that is still used and that is backed by governments versus one individual fucking dumbass, okay, is pretty obvious. This is what you get with one individual dumbass who could tank a fucking company and evaporate billions of dollars like that versus the United States of America. That's it. Are you saying that not all speculative assets can be sevens? Contradicting yourself much? That's funny. Federal Reserve, governmental regulation, large 401ks with interest growing, invested in the stock market is the difference. One is grounded, the other is not. I mean, let's not get into how grounded that is either, because I think that the global financialization has had devastating effects on our everyday existence. Okay, you know, I think it has created the faceless, lifeless corporate overlord meta and accelerated it to a point. All the fucking wealth trickling upwards is happening as a consequence of what we're talking about. More devastating than the Industrial Revolution? Yes. Can we get back to the video instead of boring libertarian shit? The video is over here. And also, there's more things that happened that it doesn't get into because it happened 2 days ago. Not trust these crypto
exchanges as far as you can throw them. And that no matter what their CEOs say about not having to worry about anything, there could be significant liquidity crises that they're lying to you about. And on that note, I want to remind you that this deal is non-binding and Binance can get out if the due diligence doesn't pan out or if they just don't want to do it. So if you're invested in FTX and didn't get your money out when I and others started telling you guys that they were likely to be insolvent, it's not time to relax. Binance isn't necessarily going to save you, and you should explore all your options because your funds might still be in danger if this deal doesn't work out. As for FTX US, I have no idea what's going on with you guys. As far as I know, they just bought out FTX.com.
Well, they're done now. That's what's going on.